morning and welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Kristina Behr.
And I'm Don Smith, and today is Thursday, September 22nd. Here's what we've got in the show for you today.
Yeah, we got a lot. New Jersey raises the minimum wage starting next year, but by how much? We'll tell you all about it.
We'll also let you know about a new survey that says New Jersey is one of the happiest states in the country.
But first, we'll check in with meteorologist Mike Favetta with a look at your weather forecast. And Mike, I have to say, with your forecast, I am pretty happy.
Yeah, the forecast is looking better and better after today, but we have to get through some of those showers earlier this morning. I'm sure, Don, you'll give us the update as how those showers are impacting this morning's commute coming up, because it is a little wet, and there's some more wet weather on the way, especially throughout the course of today. We'll get started right now with your live radar. Looking outside across New Jersey, most of the wet weather that passed through earlier this morning has moved off to our east, but there's another batch just off to our west that will eventually work its way across northern parts of the state over the next couple of hours. So there will be some wet weather around, especially as we take it into the end of the day. Currently, we hold in the mid-70s. There's a noticeable amount of humidity around that makes it feel quite uncomfortable and kind of doesn't feel like fall, because today is the first day of fall, beginning later on this evening after 9 o'clock. Once we get through the afternoon hours, you'll notice a dramatic drop in temperatures, and that will allow the temperature to drop and feel much more comfortable and much closer to our average for this time of year. But until then, it stays pretty muggy and warm. Temperatures up in the upper 70s from Seabright to Belmar, even down through Atlantic City. Camden checks in with 77 today. Once we get into the late afternoon, say 4 or 5 o'clock this evening, there is plenty of drier, cooler weather, and we knock off about 20 degrees from this afternoon's temperature, making it very chilly into tonight. We'll tell you all about that coming up with another check of your weekend weather. That in just a few minutes. Don, Kristina?
That is why I'm happy, because this is the first day of fall. Tomorrow, the first official full day of fall. Feeling like it, Mike. Loving it. Thanks so much.
You bet.
Well, Don's here, obviously, in-house.
Yes, it's good to see you. Yeah, nice to see you. Sitting in my living room.
I know. It's nice to get out every once in a while, but getting here, I'm sure, was probably no easy feat.
What a horror show, wasn't it? I mean, it really was. It was just unbelievable. Everybody is back. You know, I really think that this is before, pre-pandemic, whatever the verbiage we want to call it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's probably the best one. But, I mean, there's traffic everywhere. Traffic and weather always go together, and the weather in certain parts, Morris County, parts of Somerset County got hit with some showers this morning. It really kind of took a toll on everything. So let's get over towards our maps here this morning. We do have a crash working here on westbound 80 as you see it here this morning. This is out at Madison Avenue in Patterson. So the westbound traffic is on the left coming towards us. You see the 2 left lanes are out of service, and there's quite a bit of emergency response here. It's a little tough to see. There's a fire truck there as well. So I don't know exactly how many vehicles are involved, and I'm probably going to go with maybe 1 or 2 here at this point. But again, that westbound side of 80 is really kind of banged up there coming out of Ridgefield Park or so. We continue down further onto the list of incidents here this morning. We'll actually just go to the Google Maps, because we've had other problems here. And again, there's your delays here this morning going west. You can see all the way back towards the Garden State Parkway. That's how bad that delay is. And then 17 both ways here at Essex Street and Lodi is busy. Normal stuff along 208 heading south in towards Maple Avenue. But the eastbound side seeing a lot of rubbernecking delay as well, getting almost back to Union Boulevard. Eastbound 46, we're kind of tied up with some alternate volume getting in towards the construction here over at Route 3. Now, again, this is the majority of where we were seeing the showers earlier, so it's kind of still taking its toll, as Mike says, still slowly getting out of here. Parkway just getting hit hard both ways in Essex County, north on the Parkway, 143 up to 145. And then this whole interchange here with 287, Route 24, it's just a mess going south into eastbound 24. It's probably going to run you about another 10 minutes or so. Then the other jackpot winner, unfortunately, is this truck fire east on 78. It's been out there for most of the morning, just before, it's just east of exit 33 in the Basking Ridge, Watchung, Warren areas. So that's still about 10, 15 minutes there. 287 is busy in Bridgewater. So you kind of get the idea of, we're slowly thinning it out, especially here towards South Jersey, Kristina, because, there wasn't much in the way of rain on the Parkway 195, as well as 295 and getting all the way down to Cape May. Let's go to the Hudson River crossings. We give you the numbers here. Still well over an hour at the George, about 40 at the Lincoln, and about 30 at the Holland. So that's a bit of a rough ride. And New Jersey Transit actually kind of playing nice here this morning. A couple of canceled trains in the Newark Light Rail out of Newark Penn and the River Line. One train canceled early this morning. So it's kind of back to a normal commute. You know, we mentioned, earlier about the Starbucks I mentioned to you when I passed one. You know, when you see a Starbucks at 15 deep through the drive-through and every parking space is taken, you know we're back to pre-pandemic levels.
So a lot of folks are going back to work on Thursdays now.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And maybe taking those work from home
days
on
right,
Fridays.
Exactly.
Well, you know, kids are also back in the classroom as a new school year is already underway, but many kids are still struggling with their mental health, even as schools are back to normal in the wake of the pandemic. Joining us now to give us some insight on this important issue is Dr. Liz Mathias, who's an expert in mental health. Thank you so much for coming on today, Dr. Liz.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to see you. And, you know, we've had this discussion. It's an ongoing discussion, really, because we're not quite out of the pandemic. We're still dealing with the issues. But what specific issues are kids struggling with today?
A lot of anxiety, struggling with social skills, not really knowing how to integrate with friends. A lot of friendships have changed over time, especially as some of our children went back to school and others chose to remain virtual for a variety of reasons. The one thing I am noticing in our practice right now is we're actually having a lot of crisis. A lot of children are struggling to be in the classroom, having significant struggles that are impacting their ability to access their education and be a part of a classroom.
Yeah, Dr. Mathias, parents, maybe of my generation or, the kids are in high school and so forth. And, when we were growing up, kids just didn't talk about things like this. So how should the parents respond if your child comes to them and says that they're having an issue?
It's very easy for us as parents when we see that our child is maybe being more mouthy or agitated or rude or disrespectful. For us to kind of go I'm going to punish you route, but let that be a signal to you that something is happening and your child is struggling and can't put it into words. So when that happens, really just calm yourself down as a parent, and I speak from my own personal experience, and just say what's going on. Something doesn't seem right, and to listen, just really listen and validate their experience, because our children's biggest fear is that they're going to say something. They're going to say, I'm scared, or I'm angry, or I'm struggling in this subject and I don't know what to do. And we're going to say, you're fine, or don't worry about it. And I don't remember the last time anyone told me don't worry about it and actually worked. But I think as parents to really listen and not to aim to fix, but rather to brainstorm and problem solve together so that our children know that we're with them and on their side. Because regardless, our children a lot of the times feel very alone in their experiences and feel that it's a very individual experience when it's really not. They're part of a very big club.
Yeah. You hear leaders and politicians and everybody saying, oh, this pandemic's over. We're done. COVID is gone. But it's really not. How much of the role of the pandemic is playing in all of this?
How about 1,000%? Is that an option? It's absolutely still here, the impact of it. And I think we're going to need some time to work through the isolation, the withdrawal, the loss of a lot of those milestone field trips and graduations and proms, and just losing out on spontaneous social interaction, extracurriculars. I feel in my own personal home, I have a 16, 13, and 9-year-old. I really feel like they could go back to 2 grades below, because that's really where they're functioning academically, emotionally, socially. And a lot of our children at large are being thrust into this next grade, but they really didn't form the skills that build up to where they are now. And so, I mean, I've heard from my own children, I don't really know how to study, or just different skills of, you're going to need extra help. You're going to need to set that up with your teacher. Just skills like that, where I feel like our children are truly lacking. But again, we're in this place right now where we're at pre-pandemic expectations, but we've suffered through a pandemic, and now we have to really acknowledge its impact.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. So, doctor, if a parent is concerned that their child, maybe suffering mentally, what are some of the warning signs that they should be on the lookout for?
Anything that you see as a change, right? A child who's now eating more or eating less, sleeping more or sleeping less. They're not enjoying things that they once did. they're isolating or withdrawing more, they're more tearful or more agitated. Our children have a lot of these feelings, and they don't necessarily have the skill to be able to say, I'm feeling increasingly anxious today. You're going to see more of those signs. And then with our help and with the help of teachers and counselors and therapists, to be able to take those feelings and put them into words so that they feel that they can approach someone, and then there's a positive outcome out of that experience.
You mentioned it. What sorts of resources can parents use to find out more about mental health?
Absolutely reach out to your school counselors. Our teachers are learning more and more about mental health because it's being incorporated into the classroom. Our children are going to their teachers when they're struggling, sometimes before they come to us as parents, because they feel like their teachers are more neutral and may not be judgmental or have the response or reaction. But share with everyone. My perspective tends to be more holistic. So if everyone is on board, then our child is getting support in every single environment. And to really cue them in, what are you seeing? This is what I'm seeing. How can we work together? How can we provide more supports for my child? Whether it's the counseling at the elementary level, middle school level, high school level, being available as needed, and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cliche, but it really does take a village. It does, and to use those resources that are all around you, it really does matter and make a change. Where can people find out more information about you?
You can go to www.psychedconsult.com. My name is Dr. Liz Mathias. My practice is psychological and educational consulting in Livingston, New Jersey.
Dr. Liz, we appreciate you coming on today. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Kristina, the former Governor Cody and his wife Mary Jo, they have those PSAs where it's okay to not feel okay. I think those really resonate now, especially in these times. But I think it's a good message, that it's okay that if you're not feeling right, it's fine to feel that way.
Right, because like you said, so many people of other generations specifically, but also even now, are afraid to talk and to say like, hey, I cry uncle, time out for a second. I need some help. I need to talk this through. I need to find the resources to help, get through whatever you're going through. And I think, that takes a lot of courage sometimes.
Sure. Yeah. And again, talking, and again, I'm not going to say social media is a bit of a problem, but it kind of is,
I agree.
Kids today, they just don't have the social interactions with a lot of their other peers in school and so forth. It's all on texting. Twitter and Facebook, social media,
Instagram,
And that's the other thing too, is that back in my day, just the old man, right?
Oh, stop.
Whatever happened at school kind of just stayed there in the schoolyard, but now it follows you 24/7.
Right.
You're getting stuff on Instagram,
it lives forever,
and it lives forever.
on the internet.
That's the other problem too.
Yeah.
Is that you cannot get rid of it, no matter whether you clear your stuff, you're off Instagram, off Twitter. It's always there. Someone is going to be able to find something.
Right.
And that's the situation. You just can't. There's no off switch.
Right.
Yeah. And these kids are unfortunately having a tough time.
That's also another whole subject we could probably spend hours on too.
But kids in school, if you're having an issue, go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Go
like
talk.
a Dr. Liz,
Dr. Liz, or even your teacher, or just somebody in the school. The schools have great resources available in each of the schools.
Especially now.
To talk to somebody, to try to get a handle, the beginnings of something that's maybe happening.
Yeah. Very, very valid point.
Yes. All right, we'll move on here. The New Jersey Department of Labor announced the minimum wage would increase to $14.13 for most hourly employees starting January 1st, 2023. Workers will see a $1.13 increase in their paychecks from the current statewide minimum wage, which stands at $13. Wages are set to increase to $15 an hour by 2024. I can remember my first job, I think I was making $3.85 an hour or something. Yeah.
That's robbery.
I'm the old man.
I think mine might have been $8 or $9.
Yeah.
It was at a Sam Goody in the mall.
Yeah, I was working. Where was I working? ShopRite.
ShopRite. There you go. Wow, $3.
Yeah, $3.85, and then when I went to King's, I got a raise to $4.17. So I got 60 cents.
You're rolling in the dough.
I was rolling it, boy, really rolling in for the extra cassettes with the freestyle music or something, right?
Cassettes. Oh my goodness, I love it.
But almost $15. I know a bunch of small business owners, and now as you creep up to that $15, I mean, it's great for the workers.
It's hard for the business.
Hard for the business
Yeah.
owners,
Yeah.
because then you start seeing a very good
Yeah.
friend of mine owns an ice cream shop, and then the price of 2 scoops of ice cream goes
It's now
up 20
$10.
cents now. Yeah, right, exactly, right. But it just gets passed on. So
you
the
need to
smaller
balance it
businesses,
out,
it
for
gets
sure.
it gets a little difficult, but that's where
Yeah.
we're headed for $15.
Well, here's another top story, too. A mobile senior service could be coming to New Jersey if a new bill passes the state legislature. That new bill would send a mobile senior citizen unit to places like nursing homes and senior centers. It would help seniors with things like food and transportation technology and filling out any kinds of applications and things like that.
I think that's a great idea,
Yeah.
because so many seniors, with computers,
Yeah.
it's just, there's a lot going on,
Yeah.
and I've always said, some of this stuff is almost have to be like an IT manager.
Right.
In order to try to figure out just simple, basic things, either banking or things that you have to do for your doctor. I mean, it's just, everything seems to have gone online so quickly.
Right.
And just trying to catch up with that can be difficult for a lot of seniors,
For sure. I mean, even just sometimes sending an email. I would
Just
get
sending an
phone
email,
calls.
absolutely.
How do I attach something to
Yeah,
an email?
exactly.
And it's like, okay, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to take in. It's just we're all so used to moving at a fast pace.
And that's the thing too.
And
right?
so,
Right.
for seniors, it's not necessarily the same way.
Sure, and to have some sort of a resource come to a senior
Yeah.
citizens complex, a senior
It's
citizens
helpful.
Area, I think is very helpful. Again, just basic things that we kind of take for granted, being in our generation
Yeah.
of growing up with computers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just to lend a helping hand, even if it's just a simple question saying, "Hey, how do I hook the mouse in?" or "How do I get on this website?" Or honestly, some websites, they come up with stuff that they're not quite sure. Should I click on this? Should I
Yeah.
not? Then they'll say you get a virus,
Yes,
and then that's another bigger issue too.
Yeah.
And also with passwords and things, like just trying to write down passwords, because a lot of these websites, they make you change your password.
Right.
It seems like every 20 seconds.
And a lot of applications are web-based too, so it can be complicated.
Correct, exactly. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea
Yeah.
for the resource. But when it comes to emotional and physical well-being, Kristina, work environment and community and environment, Wallet Hub, our favorite group, Wallet Hub, has found New Jersey is the 5th happiest state in the country. The Garden State was particularly high in the well-being category, coming in second behind Hawaii.
What?
New Jersey finished much higher than its neighbors. Connecticut was the second highest at 10th, New York at 23, and Pennsylvania at 27.
Hawaii is not number one for everything on that list?
I don't know. I mean, to me, that's, number one, number 5 on the list, but number 1 in your hearts kind of thing. I
Right.
mean,
they came
maybe-
into different factors, so it was like job opportunities and
Sure, I'm
health
sure-
and things like that.
I'm sure
so-
financially, because
Right.
it's probably about 30% higher, even in
Right.
these times with inflation as being as high as it is. It's
Yeah.
much more expensive to buy a car or
Right.
a gallon of milk or
Right.
ice cream, that kind of thing, because it all has to be shipped in. But
Utah, I think, was in the top 3 as well, and it's like, what? Utah?
Utah, yeah. I mean, unless
Minnesota,
they,
too, I think
going skiing
Yeah.
in Salt Lake City, I'm
It's
not
all,
quite sure. I mean,
it's all destination, I feel, places.
Yeah.
Hawaii, I can see for sure.
yeah, exactly. But hey, we scored a lot better than New York and Pennsylvania.
That's, you know what, not surprising.
No,
Yeah.
no, unless you have to drive in New Jersey.
Then
always
that's
the
we're
problem.
talking
That's-
a whole different survey.
Totally, exactly. Yeah.
Well, coming up, we check in with Laura Jones on what lawmakers are focusing on for the fall.
Plus, what type of land is being used to help create a new state park?
And don't forget, you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
2020 felt like a dark tunnel, and while 2020 is over, the impact is not. The pandemic affected both our physical and mental health.
We started the Cody Fund for Mental Health to change lives, so we want you to know about NJ211.
It's a referral service for anyone in crisis, even children.
I am living proof that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
And it's not a train, it's help. It's NJ211.
Right now, New Jersey's youth are dealing with a lot. Growing up today, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but you're not alone. If you're worried about someone, reach out and point them to help if they need it. The New Jersey Department of Children and Families offers support to children and youth in crisis. Help is available by phone or text whenever you need it. Be there for a friend, and know where to turn for help. Suicide should never be the answer. Growing up can be hard. Getting help shouldn't be.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show, everyone. Governor Phil Murphy, announced the acquisition of a 9-mile former rail line, which will be converted into a new state park. It will connect 8 Essex and Hudson County communities, creating new recreation and office space.
9 miles of new green space through some of our state's most densely populated areas. 9 miles for healthy recreation, for cycling, for running, and for walking, and notably for many residents who otherwise don't have ready access to open space for these activities.
The project is being funded with $20 million from the Federal American Rescue Plan. I think it's a fantastic idea,
Yes.
repurposing a lot of these rail lines into parks. I think some of the model has come from the City Line in New York City, which has been extremely popular if you've ever been there. I just think it's a different way to look at trying to repurpose what is there already.
And, it's environmentally friendly. So this is Environmental Week that Governor Murphy has been touting different things. He's trying to talk about offshore wind, trying to increase that by the year 2040. So he's been announcing all of these climate sort of related issues this particular week. And it's just a fantastic idea. I mean, to make more things green and more things accessible for outdoor use is just amazing. So
I think it also opens up, to a degree, a little bit of a tourist kind of destination
Yes.
to areas that may never have even been thought of, either a
Right.
tourist area, maybe going through Verona or, West Orange. I mean, there's things to do obviously there, but this
Right.
could maybe bring a whole bunch of other folks to come in, either on bikes or whatever, and to get out and enjoy and maybe
Get
support.
outdoors.
Yeah, supports a lot of the local businesses
sure.
and things like that, which
Yeah.
is so important, everywhere, but especially here in
The
New
Garden
Jersey.
State,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, speaking of climate, let's get another update on the forecast. Meteorologist Mike Favetta. Fall rolling in today, officially, later today, finally. I am over
gonna
this hot
feel
weather.
great. It's going to feel nice because even in late September, when you have the air conditioner humming, it feels kind of odd, especially with all of the cool weather in our offing. It's going to be a lovely cool down on the way for tonight, and that will last through the upcoming weekend as it gets drier going forward. So there is that cold front this afternoon, which brings in the showers and storms today. Likely have another quick round of wet weather that lasts until about 2 o'clock today. Then later on this afternoon into the evening, the dry breezes blow in, and it feels very pleasant going forward, especially into later on tonight. So with the autumnal equinox arriving at 9:04 this evening, we get 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. That's why it's called the equinox. So with that kind of halfway point, working its way toward winter, as we say goodbye to those daylight hours, obviously the nighttime hours get longer and longer. Normally we're at a high of 76 degrees today, and our normal low is 59, but we're going to get much cooler than that over the coming days. Look at those overnight lows, especially tonight, the blue numbers there on the bottom of the screen, 50. As our starting temperature early tomorrow morning. It's going to be a chilly way to begin Friday, but at least we get all that beautiful crisp air in place with the nice deep rich blue sky. Saturday starts off nice and dry and warms up a little bit to 72, and then we're back in the mid to upper 70s on Sunday. We'll tell you more about what to expect long term going beyond into the rest of the fall season. That part of the forecast coming up with your 7-day in just a few minutes.
I love it. And I won't get any more flack for having pumpkin spice. It's official now.
Now it's in.
It is now official.
It's official, absolutely. As soon as you get into fall, it's almost like somebody just literally hit a light switch,
Yeah,
right? We're going to
it's
go from
true.
summer temperatures and bang.
And then the
right
coats
into
come out and the boots and like all of that stuff.
Well, I mean, they've had the Christmas decorations out for sale since 4th of
It's
July,
true,
so
too.
we're just kind of in that season.
Let's slow the roll with that a little bit. Let's get to Halloween first.
We got to get the Halloween first, and then we go into Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, I think it's kind of blown off a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is great.
Second fiddle. Mike, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, how are we doing with traffic? Not good, I can attest.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit better here at Behr. It's just, this morning with the traffic, the weather and traffic always go together, as they say. We had those earlier showers come through parts of Morris County, Essex County, along Route 80, the Parkway, 287 kind of wreaked havoc. Now, what you're looking at is the map of 78 going east now. We're in Somerset County. We're just east of about exit 33. There was an earlier truck fire, and they're still doing a cleanup here. So we're looking at a good maybe 10 minutes or so. So, if you're coming in from, basically, I'd say Bedminster in that area, Far Hills, or even coming up north from Bridgewater and getting on to Eastbound 78, you may want to stick with Route 22. I think that's going to be a little bit better for you here this morning. We'll kind of widen up the maps. And actually, let me go back to the incident page. There's a couple of other things working here. West on 46 in Clifton. We still have 2 lanes shut here with the crash being cleared. Vehicle off the roadway on the Parkway here, south of 136 in Cranford. Everything is open there. And then Route 9 is getting a little busier now because Route 9 south, north of 33, the business side in Freehold, 1 left lane is out of service there. That is with a down utility pole. So let's head down into that area this morning. Again, just kind of coming through the traffic lights. It's right in here. And actually not really seeing a terrible ride per se. Since we're in Monmouth County, we'll show you 33, 195 Parkway, all looking good. You know, really not a great beach day or shore day. We'll call it the shore here in New Jersey. We don't call it the beach. We don't call it the beach unless unless you're at the shore. Then you say you're going to the beach, right? That's what I've been told by our good friend Justin. Break Tom's River, the Parkway is good. You know, even Deptford, that 55-42 interchange, beginning to thin out just a bit, so that's welcome news. 295 is good. All throughout Cape May, Atlantic County is fine. I want to bring it back in towards the Parkway because we're still seeing a lot of delays here. Kind of the normal stuff this morning, getting up from 145 into 150. And then east on 24, really crowded, just east of 287. Can't seem to shake those delays out. And then we had an earlier issue on westbound 80 here, just west of Madison Avenue. That is being cleared, but the damage done back to the Parkway. And then here's this issue on 46, as I mentioned, west, right at 20 and McLean Boulevard here in Patterson, Garfield. That is just getting absolutely hammered heading south here on Route 20. So you have to look for that this morning. Hudson River crossings, let's do that. Let's bring that into the conversation. Roughly about an hour and a half here at the George Upper, almost an hour for the lower. 40 at the Lincoln, almost about a half an hour at the Holland Tunnel, New Jersey Transit. That's actually doing well on or close to schedule. So, you know, I think we're back to kind of a normal commute per se. You know,
it's
I don't
painful.
know. It is. You know, this morning was really rough, and some of that was weather related, but it also is just a lot of volume. A lot of people just heading out and heading to the office, and it's just.
That's
I think we're almost back now.
We're pretty much,
I'm not sure who gives the official, like, you know, A-OK or whatever.
The check,
the check mark and say, hey, we're pre-pandemic levels, but. We're real close.
The Parkway is now the road to perdition, like officially.
If you hit the Parkway any later than like 6:45, you're finished.
Done.
Coming from Middlesex up to Essex County, you got just stay home.
You're even getting trouble in Delaware.
It is, right, yeah. If you commute to Delaware, you may notice some increased traffic. Here's a live look at the Delaware Memorial Bridge, where construction has started in a $71 million project. They're working to rehabilitate the bridge deck on the New Jersey-bound span, resulting in 2 lanes being closed through November. And again, that's a very popular route, especially, you know, for a lot of commercial interstate traffic between New Jersey and Delaware and Pennsylvania, Maryland. So, so it has to be done. And we're seeing a lot of bridges throughout New Jersey being repaired. And again, the Parkway is another one by Route 22, Morris Avenue, and Union, by the Union Water Tower. It just doesn't seem like that's ever going to end, but they had to be done. I mean, those bridges are so old.
Yeah, so gotta take it while you can.
That's exactly.
Just you know, deal.
Time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get into politics now. Republican Alex Sawicki has taken his seat after being sworn in by Assembly Minority Leader John DeMaio. Now, Sawicki is filling a seat vacated by the death of Assemblyman Ronald Dancer in July. The Assemblyman was elected by a special election convention held by Ocean County Republicans, and before taking office, Sawicki was previously a member of the Jackson Township Council. Meantime, with state lawmakers back at work in Trenton, we've been seeing the traffic down there too. There are a variety of issues currently on the docket. And joining us now is Laura Jones, who hosts New Jersey Politics every week right here on New Jersey. Laura, thanks for spending some time with us.
Oh, good to see you both.
You recently spoke with the Senate president, and one issue you touched on with him was tax rates. Of course, a very popular topic to talk about. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Senate President Scutari is saying the cost of living, affordability, it is the top issue in Trenton, and it really is just getting too expensive for so many people in New Jersey, and that's what they're continuing to address. I spoke with him, as you mentioned, this week, so let's hear what he has to say on the topic.
We eliminated the sales tax for 10 days in the summer for a back-to-school program. We're reinstituting the energy receipts taxation diversion program, which will give more monies to municipalities to lower their tax rate. And of course, the number one thing we're doing is a $2 billion property tax relief program. People should be seeing those mailers in their mail in the coming weeks.
Okay, Republicans are saying, well, that really isn't enough. The state is flush. We have more than $6 billion in added revenues that we were not expecting, and it belongs to the taxpayers. I also spoke with the Republican minority leader in the Assembly, Assemblyman John DeMeo, and he brought up taxes as well and how they are affecting the cost of living. Let's hear what he has to say.
I see people all the time that my district, they say, you know what, my kids are grown. They've either moved out of state or to other areas, and the parents say, well, why should I stay here anymore? I could live a better quality of life somewhere in the mid-Atlantic to the south, North Carolina, South Carolina, wherever, and have more money left over in my pocket from my retirement to live better.
Yep. So it is the topic that continues to come up year after year, the cost of living in New Jersey. And Democrats are saying, hey, we're on it. We are providing property tax relief. We are providing money back. But Republicans are saying, you know what, some of these things are a gimmick. It's a 1 year. It's a 1 year program, or like the tax holiday that we had for back to school. He said it saved maybe a couple $100, not a lot, not enough to be significant. So that is what they are talking about in Trenton right now.
And Laura, how pressing is that cost of living issue? I mean, where is that like on the list, especially with inflation being as high as it is?
Yeah, well, the Democrats say and the Republicans say it is at the top of the list. But again, it's kind of always been at the top of the list. New Jersey is a very expensive state. And no matter who is in office, that is the party that gets the blame for the high cost of living. But really, when you start to look at why it's so expensive to live in New Jersey is a home rule state, meaning people have their own, each township has their own township committee, their own fire department, police department. And a bigger issue that people don't always like talking about is that consolidating of services. That's how you save money. The former Assembly Speaker from many years ago, Jack Collins, used to say people want property tax relief, but they really don't, because they give up their local police department. They don't want to give up that fire department, all the things that make them local, their town hall. Whereas if you combine services to regionalize county services as opposed to all of the different local ones, because you can, going 1 mile, in certain areas in New Jersey, you can go through 3 or 4 towns, and each one has their own level of bureaucracy, and that is what adds to the high cost of living here in New Jersey. So there's a lot. There's not a lot you really can do at the state level, but they certainly talk about it. And next year, 2023, is an election year, for Assembly and Senate. So they're going to make this about the cost of living. And well, look what, we gave you this check back. But some of them, it's a 1 year deal. It's not necessarily something that will be permanent into the state plan.
Yeah, it's definitely going to get interesting.
It certainly is, yeah,
especially
November. With an election year. Yeah. Yep.
Laura
It's
Jones.
election year, it feels like in New Jersey, always.
I know, it always feels like we're going through elections.
Exactly.
So here we go again with the commercials, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. It just never ends.
Laura Jones, we love you. Thank you so much for coming on.
And happy fall to you both.
Yay,
thank you. Thank you. Nice, happy fall to you. Yeah, Laura mentioned about the local end of things, and I've always said that, property taxes, a lot of it is the school boards.
Yeah.
Contribute a lot to your property tax, your local municipality, and she's right. You can go from one town to the next, and everyone's got their own police department, everyone's got their own superintendent, everyone's got their own board of education. And those are the elections that really impact you day to day.
Voting
today.
Yeah.
Voting for your council, voting for the Board of Education. It's helping out a little bit now that the Board of Education elections have been moved to the general election in November. But when they were in April, you would get 2%.
Yeah.
People were winning Board of Ed, elections by, with 110 votes.
Yeah, because nobody was coming out.
Because no one was coming out to vote.
And people would just come out for the main general election because, that one, but it all matters.
Right, it all matters, absolutely. Exactly. So coming up, we'll tell you about the military drills at Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst that are making things pretty noisy for local residents.
Plus, we talked to a cybersecurity expert and learn what we can do to keep ourselves safe online. And don't forget, you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.
Right now, families all across New Jersey are struggling with hunger, and their financial futures remain uncertain. You can be the hope for our hungry neighbors in need in a time when that need is still so great. The Community Food Bank of New Jersey, the state's largest anti-hunger, anti-poverty organization, is filling the emptiness caused by hunger with food, help, and hope. Go to cfbnj.org now to join us.
The New Jersey Hall of Fame is coming to you, celebrating our best and brightest, greeting guests along our Garden State Parkway through its 9 service areas, engaging travelers from our terminals to our transit centers, inspiring new generations as we move from town to town, and at New Jersey's hottest red carpet ceremony, inspiring New Jerseyans at our new home at American Dream. It's the New Jersey Hall of Fame, and it's where you want to be because everyone needs a hero.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show, everyone. Don Smith, along with Kristina Behr, here on this end of summer, right? I guess that's where we're going with it. Just a couple more hours, right? And then officially 9:04, fall comes in, and I know you're very happy. Yes. The pumpkin spice latte girl, right? Exactly. So we need one giant pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
So welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst will be conducting heavy weapons training through the end of the month. That's also going to include high levels of noise from explosives and munitions training.
Yeah, until next Friday, the base will be holding weapons drills, which do include the use of cratering munitions, mortar rounds, and howitzer fire. It's going to be very loud.
Yes, exactly.
AKA, it's just going to be loud.
Exactly. I mean, how interesting that, you hear howitzer fire in Monmouth County. It's kind of very interesting.
I'm assuming it's going to be very alarming for people who aren't aware that this is going on, because they're going to stop and say, "Oh my goodness, what was that?" But
exactly. And I think that's
just a drill.
That's what they're trying to do, is get the word out so people don't make phone calls to the police and stuff like that. Hey, what's going on? Who knows? An explosion or a building or something like that exploded. But they're just trying to get the word out. Also, just want to mention this is coming. Speaking of McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, Friday night, tomorrow night, Cranford Memorial Field, right off the Garden State Parkway, exit 136. There's going to be a flyover of a C-17 Globemaster for Military Appreciation Night at Cranford Memorial Field.
That's awesome.
And it's going to be amazing. Speaking of noise, these guys are bringing the noise with this C-17. Going to hopefully fly around 500 feet to about 1,000 feet.
Wow.
And most of the crew is all from Cranford as well, which is very, very cool.
That's really nice.
Very cool. So just wanted to throw that out there. So if you're in the Union County area, also, again, don't be alarmed when you hear this thing coming across, because this thing's going to make a lot of noise coming over the parkway.
Well, hopefully the weather holds up for that, too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's another big thing, too.
Let's check in with meteorologist Mike Favetta to see if it's going to be a good night for that.
The weather looks very nice going forward each evening successively right through tomorrow and even into this weekend. And speaking of, if there's those munitions trainings actually happen on a day where there's some clouds, or typically where there's a little layer in the atmosphere where there's some warm air, that tends to send the sound bouncing off of the atmosphere back down to other parts of New Jersey. So you may not have to be even near McGuire Air Force Base to actually get a little sound of what's going on there. All depends on the weather. Our forecast for the next few days up until the 10-day features below average temperatures, or at least a good part of the Northeast. That's that area shaded in blue. Most of the West remains abnormally warm, and this is also what you'll see coming up in tomorrow's show with the new drought update. We're still in a drought here in New Jersey, but as of this morning, with the new numbers, 41% of the entire United States, the continental U.S., is under a drought. So we're not alone with that dry weather, and of course most of that is out west of the Rockies. The forecast going forward to this evening brings in much cooler weather. Your weather menu features a little bit of a dry breeze, and temperatures falling through the 60s will probably be down in the 50s by early tomorrow morning, right down at 50 degrees. That's in Newark. Could see some 40s up there in northern parts of New Jersey, say up towards Sussex and Morris County there in the hills. Saturday brings back a gorgeous day, lovely way to start the weekend, very fall-like, with a high climbing to 72, and then with a few showers on tap for Sunday into Monday, a little bit bit of humidity working back in, they will have temperatures that will climb back into the mid-70s, which is still close to average for the end of September. Tuesday and Wednesday brings back another reinforcing drier period that allows for lots of sun and highs in the low 70s. So plenty of fall-like weather to enjoy. We get a good dose of it later tonight and early tomorrow morning, especially with temperatures tomorrow that will feel like the 60s all day. So Kristina will be happy walking along, sipping her PSL, and actually having it feel like fall right across New Jersey.
We're going apple picking this weekend.
Oh,
you
nice.
just convinced me. You convinced me we're doing it. Perfect.
Exactly.
Mike, thanks so much.
You bet.
Someone's so excited about a drink.
Oh, I love everything fall. Just just like even like the fall crispiness that he was talking about, when you can open the windows and just sleep without the air
without the air conditioner. So
yeah,
helps
I know you love that.
The electric bill too.
Exactly.
Gosh.
So how the road's looking? Not so good.
It's improving a little bit. We're here a little, about 9:45 or so, roughly. So it's beginning to thin out, except for here. Let's go towards our maps, and we're looking, friends, about 2 hours at the George Washington Bridge, and that's because what happens in New York doesn't necessarily stay in New York, and the delays extend back because there was a broken down tractor trailer on the eastbound cross Bronx at Jerome Avenue. It's kind of almost like that back door entrance to get to Yankee Stadium. Maybe we'll see if Aaron Judge hits 61 tonight against the Red Sox. That would be great. Anyway, I digress. So the George Washington Bridge, the upper is about 2 hours, about an hour to an hour and 15 for the lower. We'll see if that begins to thin out here. But I'm not really expecting that to clear out here for at least another hour, probably 11:30 or so. The Lincoln is about 45, about 25 to 30 at the Holland Tunnel. So, we're pretty much kind of back to normal, really. That's, I think, maybe I'll call it. Maybe I'll be the one to say, hey, we're back, right? There we go.
You're the official.
So we're also looking at a broken down vehicle on Route 3 westbound. The ramp to 21 South in Clifton is out of service. We're still cleaning up this crash west on 46. West of the Parkway in Clifton, 2 lanes are shut. And then this traffic signal down along Route 9. We've got a lane down here out by the Freehold Raceway Mall. So that's really not causing a terrible delay. But again, you can see the delay here. This is where that broken down tractor trailer is this morning. So that's why this George is just bright red. I mean, that's not what you want to see. 17 going south out by the Garden State Plaza Mall is heavy. 208. We'll keep an eye on this to see if the road work goes out at Maple Avenue. I think maybe weather has maybe canceled that. A lot of construction crews, they make that call fairly early to cancel it because of the weather, and even later this afternoon. 80 still tied up both ways here, getting in towards Route 20. But again, this Route 20 situation is because of the crash on the westbound side of 46 right here at the Parkway. And that's been out there for, I guess, about 45 minutes or so since we came out on the air at 9. Western Jersey is good, except for, here we go again. They're rock blasting here on 78 both ways through Jugtown Mountain in Bloomsbury. So between exit 7 and 11, you got to leave some extra travel time. You may even see full closures. A good friend of mine was coming in from Pennsylvania last week, and he said he got stuck in this, and he was there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, because they shut the road down to do this rock blasting. So just keep that in mind. But, Central Jersey, 287, the Parkway, the Turnpike is good. Down the shore, really not the greatest of beach days, I don't think. Parkway is clear. Turnpike is fine, 55 all the way down into Cape May. Let's take a look at transit. We do have some delays here in the Morrison Essex. The 9:31 arrival, about 15 minutes late there. And then the 8:41 departure from Penn Station in the city. A couple of minutes of a delay worth there. Hudsonburg and Light Rail, also some minor cancellations there. And let me just give the path update really quick. The Hackensack River lifts again for today between 10 and 11 and 1 and 2, and that's going to affect North to World Trade. So I think maybe we're just about going to call it, and we're almost back to pre-pandemic levels, at least I think so.
Official.
You've heard it officially here on the New Jersey
Don
Morning
Smith.
Show.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
we go.
But despite all of the traffic we've been seeing the increase, if you are a New Jerseyan who likes working from home, and there are a lot of you, you're far from alone, right? New data from the Census Bureau found that 22% of New Jersey workers worked from home, skyrocketing from 5% in 2019. That's no surprise, right? Well, that's right up there with the biggest states in the nation, with the front runner being Washington State, which is only marginally higher at 24%. And of course, that trend is driven in part by workers who used to commute to New York and Philadelphia. It'll be interesting, though, if they redo that survey now with people going back into the office.
I think
because
give
we're
a little
seeing
bit,
it.
exactly, give a little bit of the frustration time as me and you have experienced just this morning trying to get here. Probably took us about an hour longer than maybe it should have, So you're right about that. So I think that maybe that survey needs to be done either at the beginning of the year, just let people kind of settle in with school and everything else that, always said that, school kind of just rules the road, really.
Right.
I mean,
That's
it's just
true.
constant, and there's just so many things going on. And I would imagine that you take the survey again, and that 22% goes even higher. Like maybe 40% or 35%. I'm not sure. I mean, I do know a lot of people that work from home, and it's kind of a 50-50 split.
Right, hybrid, that hybrid working.
Yeah, some like going into the office, and others they enjoy staying at home.
Right.
Because it's just easier with the commute. It's easier maybe to get other things done in the house with the kids and getting them ready and this and that. So
have internet, you can work from anywhere, right?
This is true, as we've been all proved positive over the last 2 years that you can pretty much do most jobs. Can't fly a plane from your living room.
But. And speaking of the internet, we've all seen news stories, right, about people and companies that have suffered from major hacks recently, and it can be scary to think it could happen to anyone at any time. So joining us now is cybersecurity expert Michelle Schaap. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
How do so many hackers, I've always wondered this, end up successfully breaching online systems? We're talking like businesses, banks, things like that. How are they so successful?
Because it's easy. I could quit my day job tomorrow and I could become a hacker. For less than $50, I could buy an online kit to become a bad guy. It's that simple. Exactly. If I wanted to launch ransomware, I could launch it on you.
Wow.
Because you think of these hackers are probably from the dark web or they're highly trained, highly sophisticated, but you're saying under $50 you can do this.
Well, and it's funny because you want to be hit by a professional hacker. Because if you're hit by a professional ransomware gang, they have help desks. So that if you pay the ransom and then you want to decrypt your data, they will help you to launch that decryption key. However, if you're hit by an amateur, so I quit my day job tomorrow, I spend $50, I buy a kit, I may not know how to help you to decrypt your data after I've locked it up.
So then you're really in deep trouble.
You're going to be really in deep trouble. Is right. So what are websites doing to respond to this growing threat that hackers pose and try to help protect users like us?
Well, it's interesting you ask because a number of resources have online guidance as to what you can do. So think about, for example, sending money, Venmo, Zelle, those types of systems and accounts. If you go onto their website and put in cyber hack or security, they will provide to you tips as to how you can better secure your account with those resources. Same thing with social media sites. If you click on their FAQs or type in security, they can give you guidance, but they can only do so much. The users then actually have to implement those resources.
That's incredible. I mean, I'm going to be fully, transparent here.
Yeah.
I felt like such an idiot because I fell for a social media hack, and then they hacked into my Twitter account. So, what are the most common? You think it's never going to happen to you, but it can. What are the most common security or cybersecurity mistakes that users make?
Well, I think you just mentioned it, falling for a fish. And what's interesting is oftentimes people will put out professional announcements, either themselves or their employer saying so-and-so just started at this and such company. Well, the new employee doesn't know who senior management is. So suddenly they get an email from the named partner that says, I'm stuck on the highway. I just called a tow truck. I don't have cash. Could you please go to CVS and get me gift cards and send me the codes? The new employee wants to be helpful. So they go to CVS and they get the gift cards and they give the codes. The money is gone. You can't undo that. And it's because we're eager to help, because we respond to urgency. You had a story on before about this testing and bombing that was going to be going on. If somebody puts online, did you know we're being attacked here in South Jersey? Somebody's going to respond to that urgency. And let's suppose somebody wants your pumpkin spice coffee after listening to you. And suddenly, I was listening. And suddenly there's a pop-up ad that says, get your gift card here for pumpkin spice coffee. And you click on it. All you need to do is put in your password. And the problem is people are creatures of habit. So they use the same password for multiple accounts.
Yep.
You know, and you know, Michelle, we did a story earlier about senior citizens, about, you know, sending help to senior citizens and like a van or a truck or some sort of resource to help them. This is where I'm concerned with, because there's a lot of seniors out there who, you know, these hackers, these bad actors, they really make these things look real. You know, you get an email and saying, hey, it's from whatever company, and it's got the logo, it's got the letterhead kind of a thing. Everything. It looks so official. And, you know, how many times, you know, I've gotten from my parents, hey, should I do this? And I say, don't click on anything. You never click on anything, you know, unless you've requested it. Do not go anywhere near it, because it's some sort of a scam trying to do something to the computer. And, you know, Michelle, what are some of the biggest steps that, you know, we can take to protect our online information?
Well, first of all, let's take the example that you just gave.
Sure.
So let's suppose that you bank with ABC Bank and you get a notification that there's something wrong with your account and you need to log in here. You need to pick up the phone and call the known number for ABC Bank and say, hey, I got this email and they said there's a problem with my account. Is this for real? Trust but verify. Pick up the phone and don't use the phone number on the email that you got or the alert that you got. Use the phone number that you know is the correct number. Get a human being to verify. For older people who fall for scams, you're not alone. Don't be afraid to tell somebody that you think you did something. The other thing that people shouldn't be doing, and I mentioned it before, don't recycle passwords. Don't use a password that somebody can find. I can go online and figure out where somebody went to elementary school very quickly. Wherever you can, implement two-factor authentication. And for those of you who aren't sure how to do that, think about your social media account. Go into the help area and type in two-factor authentication, and it will guide you as to what to do. Another thing that people don't do or don't do in a timely manner is they don't install updates. Updates 99% of the time are a euphemism for a patch. A patch is to fix a known vulnerability. So if you get an alert, don't hit remind me later, remind me later, remind me later. Install now. Make sure that you keep your devices up to date. And if you buy a device that's connected or intended to be connected to the internet, the odds are good that it has a default password. Change the default password. The other thing to think about is the other equipment that we're currently using. If you have leased equipment or even equipment that you've purchased that you're going to then donate or discard, make sure you wipe the data. Think about if you sync your car to your phone and now you're going to sell the car or return it from lease. The car company is not going to wipe the data that you loaded up from your phone. You need to either ask them or do it yourself to wipe it. That goes for rental cars as well. I will tell you that we rented a car while we were on vacation, and my husband went to sync his phone so we could do map on his phone through to the car. I said, please do not link to the car.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we looked and there were 5 other people's information linked to the leased vehicle because they hadn't taken that precaution.
Right.
Sure,
You can't trust any.
And you know, if you hook your phone in, that gets all your contacts. It has probably your home phone number, your children, whatever. Everything that's on your phone is going right to that car for the rental, or if you get a new one or a leased one. Yeah.
So where can people find out more information just to help themselves?
There's some terrific resources in the state. I will share with you one right now, which is NJ Kick, and I'm going to spell this out for everybody. The website is NJ, C like cat, C like cat, I like igloo, C like cat, at cyber.nj.gov. NJ Kick puts out alerts every Thursday if you sign up for their newsletter, and then they also put out alerts if there's an interim emergency. And if you look at their alerts, they're actually written in English. so you don't have to be a computer scientist to understand what they say. Very important. Go to that site, sign up for their weekly newsletter by all means. And there's also one other resource I will share with the audience, and that is the Cybercrime Support Network. That's a not-for-profit, and they cater to small business owners and individuals. And they have some wonderful resources and tips. Also, your banks can help you. So if you want to better secure your own bank account, ask your banking relationship manager, what should I do to make sure that you're verifying before funds are wired from my account?
That's such great advice. Thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on the show today and sharing this with us. Such an important topic.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the pumpkin spice coffee.
Thank you. You too. You know, speaking of pumpkin spice, we're going back to that and fall. A popular Halloween attraction returning to New Jersey, the Haunted Hay Rides will run at the deserted village of Feltville from Friday, October 21st to Sunday, October 23rd. Visitors will ride through the 130-acre grounds on an open hay wagon with actors in costumes appearing at different points along the way. The actors will depict a variety of scenes based on the area's history.
That is very cool. So that's through the Watchung Reservation in Union County. So being a resident of Union County and growing up there, it is a bizarre place. I mean, this is all with actors and stuff like that, but I mean, if you try to walk through there, there's probably some of that weird New Jersey kind of vibe going on. And
haunted
it is bizarre. It is really strange. I mean, if you're into that kind of a thing, you know, I mean, the Watchung Mountains are beautiful, especially during the fall with the leaves changing color and stuff like that. But at night, ooh,
creepy.
Oh
yeah,
yes, extremely
Lots
creepy.
of
Yes,
history.
but I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Cool.
Absolutely. But you know what else is fun, Kristina? Is when you go down the shore,
Yeah.
Point Pleasant Beach, you're walking along the boardwalk, and you hear a summer wind coming blowing off the sea.
Nice.
For decades, the house in Point Pleasant Beach, known as always playing Frank Sinatra's songs, is up for sale. Now the Sinatra House is up for that sale. The home became famous when the then owner, former Sony Music Distribution Chairman Paul Smith, regularly played Sinatra's music out on the outside speakers. Well, his kids have, kept the music playing after Paul passed away back in 2002. Now the well-known home is on the market. Listing price for this is $4.4 million.
Cool, 4.4.
That's pocket change for you, Kate.
Exactly. Just to listen to some, you have to keep playing the Sinatra music. Whoever buys it, that has to be that should be in the sale.
It's in the contract, right? Yeah, that they can, the former family can, go after them if they don't. But
just
again,
keep that tradition.
I think that's the
really
biggest
cool.
question is whether they're still going to play the music.
it's really cool.
The house itself has got 8 bedrooms. It's got like 4 or 5 bathrooms, and the key thing to it is that it has parking.
Yes,
So
which
you
is
can,
impossible.
Exactly. I think it holds like 8
I think
or 10
it was like
cars,
8 or 10 cars.
something like that. It's in a great spot. Don't get me wrong. On the boardwalk, 4.4 million. We were just talking about this the other day with my girlfriend, and I was saying to her that I in some ways I think that's a pretty good deal for being on the boardwalk and the beach. I'm not sure whether the price is being held back because it's 24/7 nonstop in the middle of July with everybody walking on the boardwalk, and you'll never get any sleep because maybe that's the reason why they play the Sinatra music to drown out everything that's on the boardwalk. But if it wasn't Sinatra music, maybe post it in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. Like, what would you play?
What would you like to hear?
But I think it would have to be a Jersey thing, right?
Bruce.
Would be Springsteen,
Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi. Just a Jersey soundtrack maybe for that. So I'm not sure.
We'll see.
We'll see.
TBD.
Exactly.
Hope you had fun today.
I did, yes. We've been looking to do this for a long, long time.
Let's do it.
Fantastic.
Let's do it again. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the show.
And we'll see you right back here tomorrow morning.
Yay.
Everyone, have a great Thursday.
Hey, and don't forget, you can always find us on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and click follow.